It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha's Terumah. The question of the week is, how can we find strength to overcome the challenges of exile? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha's Terumah, we learn about the command that God commands Moshe Rabbeinu to instruct the Jewish people to v'yikchu li Terumah, to take for me a gift, and the Torah lists many different items that were needed for the Mishkan, gold, silver, etc. And then one of the items the Torah lists is atzei shittim. What's atzei shittim? So atzei shittim is acacia wood. So Rashi asked the question, and he says, where did the Jewish people have acacia wood in the desert? So Rashi brings down from the Medrash, and he quotes Rabbi Tanchuma that says that where did the Jewish people have acacia wood in the desert? So he says, Yaakov Avinu, Yaakov, the patriarch Yaakov, when he saw the Jewish people going into exile, he had divine prophecy, and he saw when they leave, they're going to have to go build a tabernacle, and they're going to need acacia wood. Where they're going to have it from? So he brought it with him from Israel, brought it to Egypt, planted in Egypt, and he instructed them, when you leave, you'll take the acacia wood with you. So the Rebbe asks a simple question. Great, but why is it that we have to come to this interpretation that Yaakov brought it from Israel, planted, instructed them? What's wrong with a simple answer? They bought it in Egypt, just like you buy anything else. Gold, silver, jewelry, wool, any other materials. Why do you have to find this concept that he brought it from Israel? So the Rebbe explains, and he says like this: because the Torah says v'yichu, it doesn't say v'yitnu they should give. If you give, you can give anything. You go buy anything, you give it. V'yichu means you should take. What does that mean? You have to take something that you have. So obviously the Torah wants us to take things that we have. So since it's referring to something that we have, so something that we have, it must be something we had from before. How'd they have it? If you bought it, you don't have it. And therefore, the Rebbe explains, that's why Rashi goes in great length to come up with this idea, this Medrash, that the Medrash says that they brought it where? From something they had. Had they have it because Yaakov foresaw and brought it to them in the land of Egypt. So now the bigger question is, great, but why is it that Yaakov went ahead and brought it? What was wrong with them buying it? So they had to, they had to take their own. They could have bought it and it would have been their own. So the Rebbe says, here you see a fascinating insight, and if you give a look, when the Rashi quotes the Medrash, he quotes who the author of the Medrash is, and he says, Medrash Rabbi Tanchuma. Tanchuma is the name, but also Tanchuma comes from the word of nechama, which is comfort. In other words, this Medrash is coming to teach us a powerful lesson in the comfort that Yaakov was going to instill and give for the Jewish people while they were in exile. What's the comfort? Here they're in exile, here they're suffering, they're slaves, and there's no way out. Whoever sees we're going to get out of this exile. So Yaakov planted these acacia wood in Egypt, so they'll know that Yaakov, their grandfather, great-grandfather, planted it because he foresaw that eventually they're going to leave, and just knowing that this exile is temporary, and eventually they're going to leave, that allowed their exile to become a little easier, and with a little hope that they knew that they were going to leave, and because they had the acacia wood with them. So the Rebbe explains, and this is a very, very powerful lesson to each and every one of us in exile that we're in. We know that Nasi, which is basically a leader of the Jewish people, is an acronym for the four words. Nitzutzoi shel Yaakov Avinu. That means in every generation there's a leader who has the spark of Yaakov Avinu. And just like Yaakov Avinu implanted in exile the acacia wood so we should know we're going to leave, so the same thing also in every generation there's a Nasi, there's a power of Yaakov Avinu that teaches us the same lesson, that this galus that we're in is only temporary. And eventually and shortly, hopefully, we will all leave this galus and go with the Mashiach Tzidkenu to Eretz Yisrael. Knowing that allows you to find strength in this exile, that exile is not as bad as it actually is. So to answer the question, where do we find strength to overcome the challenges of this exile? Think of the Nasi Hador, the leader of our generation, who is a spark of Yaakov Avinu, that gives us hope and tells us that we are here, it's only temporary. And knowing that it's temporary, knowing we're going to leave soon, makes it easier to overcome the challenges of exile. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch ben Aryeh Leib and Shlomo Ben Yosef. May their souls be elevated for the Torah we're studying in their memory. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. For more information about Chabad and a regular schedule of classes, please see our website.